Hi, Stephen. I'm so glad to have you here with me. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, and you, Catherine. It's so good to be here with you today. I'm just so excited, and as I was saying to you earlier, with with life hiccups, it's good to know that there's another person, another life force out there that just won't take no for an answer. So it's good to be here with you.
Yeah, just for our listeners and watchers, I was trying to log into my Mac. It didn't work, so I changed everything, but this has to be done. I'm so glad to have you here and for the opportunity to share your story. I'm very, very grateful to you. Also, thank you for your trust for working with me on our journey. We will mention that a little bit at the end also.
Yes.
There is something very interesting, and that is spiritual intelligence. I don't think people are talking a lot about it, and you are truly an expert. Would you like to dive deeper a little bit? What is spiritual intelligence and how we can develop it?
Yes, good question, Catherine. Spiritual intelligence to me is nothing but the fiber optic line
Mm,
of interrelay system of a person's essence. It is what grounds us. It is what we consider to be the life force of energy that we're all made up of. And so many people shy away from it, especially in the corporate world and in the business world, is because it's a taboo type
mhm,
of thing, almost kind of like out of sight, out of mind. But if really tapped into, if truly harnessed, it can not only ground you to the environment of where it is that you occupy, but can help you. It's a two-way relay system of where all the other intelligences lie. It is
mhm,
what houses all the other intelligences: cultural
mm,
intelligence,
mm,
emotional intelligence, your the physical intelligence. Because without your physical nature, your true essence of who you are, which is spiritual intelligence, it cannot exist. So all of these are housed within spiritual intelligence.
mhm,
And what spiritual intelligence does is it helps amplify,
mhm,
it helps with the great output of what it is, all the other intelligence or the modalities of what they are known as in our sphere of influence. These modalities, it helps enhance the modalities of cultural intelligence,
mm,
emotional intelligence, of knowing why I think the way I think, how I feel the way I feel, and not only the way I feel, but how I make you feel in the
mm,
process of being in that environment of spiritual intelligence. So, in
mhm,
essence, it's the interrelay or the interconnectedness by which, like a computer,
mhm,
has an operating system
mhm.
that operates off of the other intelligences and helps you flow out of that smoothly, succinctly, and with synergisticness, and without any fright or without any ambiguity of any kind. And so that's what spiritual intelligence is, Catherine.
This is so powerful. You mentioned something very interesting, which I heard also from Jeffrey Allen. He is a thought leader in spirituality. And you said it's like a house, like a roof to all other intelligences, right? And he
Yes,
said people usually think that spirit is in us, but the truth is it's all around us. What do you think about that?
that is true.
Mm-hmm.
As with everything, everything has life,
Mm-hmm.
and everything, or this, just think of the spirit or spiritual as breath. Spiritual is just nothing but, in the Hebrew, it's known as ruach.
Mm-hmm.
Ruach is breath.
Mm-hmm.
All we're simply saying, and all that I'm saying, is how I breathe. And I
Mm-hmm.
shared with you during the last time of our coaching session, you remember, I shared with you about the talk or the book that I love
Mm-hmm.
by Dr. Martin Luther King, called The Three Dimensions
Mm-hmm.
of Life,
Mm-hmm.
or the three dimensions of a man's life.
Mm-hmm.
Too many of us, we get caught up in the first two spheres of life. We
Mm-hmm.
get caught up in the height,
Mm-hmm.
of acclaims, accolades, and all different types of things. Then we
Mm-hmm.
get caught up in the second sphere, which is called the link. We're wanting all eyes upon us, but very few of us know how to get and step into the breath of life.
Mm.
This is what spiritual intelligence is. Spiritual intelligence is stepping into the breath of your life and not only inhaling but exhaling upon people with your talent, with your giftedness, with your, whatever it is that you do as a coach, as an HR manager, as a CEO, as a C-suite executive, but being able to breathe that which the essence of who it is that you are, and not only enjoying life but giving life in the process. This is what spiritual
So
intelligence is.
beautiful. Not only enjoying life, but giving life in the process. You're
Yes.
getting quoted, my friend. You're getting quoted here. How we can develop spiritual intelligence? As far as I am aware, it might be the key for the success and actually balance and peacefulness in life at the same time. But people are not aware, right?
Right.
So how we can work on it? What do you do for a living?
For me, what I do a lot of. It took me a long time to learn this, and I hate that I learned it in the latter or later years of my life instead of my earlier years. But as they say, better late than never. And so the way that I do my spiritual practice or my spiritual essence, I do a lot of reading of all different types of a variety of books. I read philosophy. I read things on business. I even read the Bible. I've even read at one time in my life. I even read the Quran because again, spiritual intelligence is not so much cornering yourself off or allowing yourself to be isolated from things, but it is stepping into the essence or the breath of who you are, being confident with who you are, loving who you are. And in the same instance, as you love who you are, you're able to dispense and you're able to distribute that love back to others, even those who might not agree with you, who might not even like you, and even at times, folks who downright even hate you. I know that that's a harsh term for us to think about in our day and time, but it exists.
It happens.
But it's the ability to be comfortable and to be satisfied where you are, with who you are, how you are, and to be able to flow out of that. And the way that I do that, I do meditation. I do a lot of praying. I do a lot of reading. I do, just things to keep my mind engaged, not only with my outer world, but with my inner world. One gentleman came to me. I used to do a teaching at Teen Challenge, which helped young men get their life back on the right track. And one gentleman came to me. He said, Brother Underwood, he said, I'm having a hard time. I want to leave here, but I want to leave, and I said, there's some things that are going down. I said, listen, it is far more better what is going on outside of you than what's happening inside of you. Because what's happening on the inside of you far outweighs what's going on the outside. All that outer noise is trying to distract you from what it is, the peace, the joy, the resiliency, the love that you're trying to now get for yourself. All this stuff is happening on the outside, like what happened with your Apple computer. All this stuff was happening on the outside of you because when two power sources come together, like yourself and myself, what did I just say earlier? It amplifies. So both our energies of our spirits, the breath, the ruach in the Hebrew term, our breath met together and it amplified in such a way that it had to affect something. What did it affect? It affects your computer. I know a lot of people don't think of it like that, but it
yeah. I said, here it goes. It will rest a little bit because I took another one. I'm not going to, accept the obstacles system. My TEDx talk was about obstacles and that something doesn't exist. So we proved that one more time. So we're recording this on another device, and here we are again. It's impossible to I hope like the internet and everything else will work well. So it's going to be fine. Yeah. The way I see it, it's like nurturing our own soul. right? It's like
Yes.
feeding the child inside of us and
Yes.
actually growing from inside. And people can feel that. People can feel the energy. People can feel the love. People can feel the frequency around us. And you met my clients, as you are one of them in our private community, and you see how all of them radiate with love. It's
Yes.
impossible for someone who is not on that frequency to be attracted by me. And that is, yeah, so that is the core of my business. And I know your business is heart. And that doesn't mean we're not intelligent, right?
Right.
Like, there are so many levels of intelligence. My regular IQ is over 156, but I don't
Yes.
know as much about spiritual intelligence as you do. I am trying to learn and figure it out. And I think I'm getting there a little bit. So I love when you share your story, because it's so powerful. Let's share just a piece of detail. In how many countries you lived until now?
By the time I was 4 and 5, I've lived on, me and my siblings, we lived on at least 3 to 4 major different continents. A lot of people get me mixed up and they get me, as we say in American language, they get me twisted, and they
Mhm,
say, oh, he's another just typical African American young Black man, and they
mhm,
don't even know that I hold 2 dual citizenship, one
mhm,
Americanized, because that's an interesting story. My father, who just passed away, as you know, Catherine, was very dear to my heart, and I shared with my siblings. I was like, we all lost a father, but I lost much more. I said, because this was the man that was not only the progenitor and the contributor
mhm,
to bringing me into life,
mhm,
but he actually with his own 2 hands, he delivered me into
mhm,
this life. And so he even said, he said, Stephen, out of all of our children, you were the most interesting one. You were the most captivating one, because you came into this world, your eyes just beaming bright, and just like, they were just full of life. And it was like, my mother even told my father, it's like he's been here before. And so again, that's what somewhat spiritual intelligence is also too. There's some of your audience that might can identify
mhm, mhm,
being in a certain place, being with a certain person,
mhm,
being at a certain area in the
mhm,
part of the world, and it's like almost like, oh, we can know it as deja vu.
mhm,
But in my sphere, or in my practice, it is called what is known as the spiritual essence of knowing. The older
mhm,
people I grew up with, they used to say, "Oh, your knower knows," and that
mhm,
is just simply saying there are just some things that you just know, not because of what you studied and what you prepared for. There are
mhm,
some things that you already come into this life pre-programmed
mhm,
knowing.
mhm,
You come
mhm,
into this life pre-programmed
mhm,
knowing. And
mhm,
so when you tap into that
mhm,
spiritual intelligence, again, it
mhm,
amplifies everything that is about you as a human being.
mhm,
And as a human being, notice that majority of your body is not
mhm,
just only input. Majority of your body is a frequency of output. So
mm,
as we learn to tap into the spiritual frequency of intelligence,
mhm,
it will help
mhm,
us. It would help us to better be able to adapt to cultural intelligence.
mhm,
Not so much be so quick to judge people who are different from us, who don't
mhm,
speak the same languages as us, and
mhm,
who do not even look the same color as us.
mhm,
So
mhm,
this is what has helped me. So to answer your question, I've lived on at least 3 to 4 different major continents. I was born in Torreon de Arroz, Madrid, Spain. And
mhm,
for my senoras and senoritas out there, hola, ¿cómo estás? And I just love the fact of who it is that I am and that I
mhm,
was born to be. And there was so many years in my young life,
mhm,
Catherine, I was
mhm,
not
mhm,
comfortable in my own skin. I was not comfortable in my
mhm,
own intelligence. I told you during our teachings or our
mhm,
coaching sessions, my mother used to
mhm,
always tell me, Stephen, do you know who you are? And I just
mhm,
want to say to your audience, that's what spiritual intelligence is. It is about being introduced as Catherine said, being introduced to that little child and your spiritual intelligence. The thing about it, it is childlike, but yet it is so advanced and it's so grown up that it's able to foster, it's able to nurture the child in you to help you navigate your culture, your emotional, and even your physical intelligence without being, again, without any ambiguity, without being frightened about anything, without any fear. The spiritual intelligence of you is fearless. And if we would learn to tap into that again, and if we would learn to accept the childlike essence that, listen, I don't know everything. I can't possibly know everything.
Does this mean that we are actually consciously or unconsciously ignoring the key to a joyful, peaceful, and successful life, but not being aware about spiritual intelligence?
I believe so, because as it's been proven scientifically, I went and I obtained my cultural intelligence certification through the Cultural Intelligence Center out of Chicago, Illinois. And Dr. Liverpool has said and stated scientifically and statistically, analytically, that it is a fact. Persons who do not know how to adjust to their cultural, their physical, and their emotional state of essence of who they are. These people are what we know as in our society, they're volatile people. They're hostile people. They're even violent. And some of them are even murdersome or murderers. Not saying necessarily that they're bad people, but because they were not properly trained and taught. Because I used to, I taught my children that where the training ends, that's where the teaching begins. And as the saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. That's how you and I came to to meet one another, because the student now was ready to step in further past what he didn't know, how he didn't know it, and was secure enough. My spiritual intelligence was secure enough. I know who I am. I'm willing to trust this person, even though we have not ever met or laid eyes on each other. But this is the beautiful thing about everything that has happened and transpired between you and I. My spirit knew who you were as an individual, as a person who you are, as a woman, and as a human being. Your spirit, the thing about spiritual intelligence, Catherine, is that it never lies. It's impossible. It's impossible for the spiritual in essence or spiritual intelligence of who you are as a person, as a human being, as a C-suite executive, as a CEO, as an HR director, as a business coach, as a business consultant. It's impossible for your spirit to lie to you. Now, what happens oftentimes, we ignore it, we downplay it. And once we continue to keep ignoring it, guess what happens? It becomes dull, it becomes mute, and then eventually, no insult to those who have impediments of deafness or blindness, we become deaf, mute, and dumb. So then you have people, you have grown up men who are in their 50s and in their 60s, but yet they're still acting like they're in their teens and their teenage years. Why? Because the spiritual essence of them, the spiritual intelligence of them has not ripened. Spiritual intelligence helps the other fruits of cultural intelligence, physical intelligence. It helps amplifies it to where it becomes producible fruit. And who wants to partake of rotten fruit? And rotten fruit is just nothing more than who we are as human beings. Although we have hands, head, and torso, we are living fruit of the spiritual intestine, the spiritual intelligence of the essence that we produce. Whatever we produce culturally, whatever we produce emotionally, whatever we produce physiologically, that is the fruit that we will not ourselves only eat, but what other folks eat from us. How do they eat from us? The words we speak, the letters we write, the books we write. So we have a lot of people that are not, they are full grown adults, but yet they're dwarfs, they're midgets. No, again, no puns intended to those who deal with dwarfism and things of that nature. Again, my spiritual intelligence would not dare allow me to be ignorant or to be remiss to downplay anybody who has that type of impediment. I won't say impediment, but who has that type of differentiality of life. So what spiritual intelligence helps me to do, it helps me to connect not only with my cultural world and my physiological world, but emotionally, it helps me to filter. How do I feel about this? And not only how I feel about it, but how my feelings, how that should come across to make another person feel comfortable, accepted, received, and loved. Because everybody wants to be valued, appreciated, and loved.
And imagine if every single person in this world become aware of this. We touched something very serious here, Stephen, because if people get aware, or at least here now, there is something like that, they will start researching and the consciousness will start to grow. And there is a chance for us as a humanity and civilization to develop further. So this is not just an information. This is much more deep than an information. The same thing happened when someone first time mentioned emotional intelligence. Now everyone is working on it. It is time for spiritual intelligence. It is time for our inner growth. And I thank you so much for sharing this with me and my audience. We worked together for the last month or so. I'm very grateful that you have chosen me to be your coach. I truly enjoyed our path. I'm so proud of you for the achievements that you did in just few weeks. You are now published contributing author on Thrive Global with Ariana Huffington. You're now featured on several stages. And would you like to share just a little bit about that? Because I really want the world to know what you have achieved in such a short terms.
Well,
don't be shy.
The contributing author of Thrive Global, that totally caught me off guard. My business mentor and coach, Catherine B. Roy, didn't tell me who Ariana Huffington was. I didn't know she owned the Huffington Post. I didn't know she was an acclaimed figure of who she was and is going to be. I didn't know that, because had Catherine had told me, something in me, probably my cultural or even I would believe my physical intelligence would have told me, no, you're not quite there yet. But my spiritual intelligence was like, no, we're ready for everything that life has to offer. Not only has to offer, but what you have to give to it. So when that came about, she told me, she was like, do you know who accepted?
Do you know what we did
on her platform? I said, no, I don't. And she said, it's Arrington Huffington. She said, you know the person that owns Huffington Post? She owns that. I said, get out of here. And it just threw me. And she said, Stephen, she said, and that's the reason why I did not tell you who she was, because I knew there was a part of you that would have told yourself, you're not ready, you're not there. But Stephen, I know what I know about you. You're ready, you're well equipped, and you're well adaptable to do this. And so that's how that came about and came apart. And then the last portion of what Catherine was talking about, I just landed a major speaking engagement for the Comeback Champion Summit with Shay Brown. And I just want to send a shout out to that gentleman too, Shay Brown. Him and Trevor Otts gave me an opportunity when they didn't even know me back in 2018. And they gave me an opportunity to speak on a major platform, which was the Black CEO 2018 event in Herndon, Virginia. And so when I met Catherine during this phase of my life, when everything was happening, again, when the output of your life is so strong, things around you begin and start to happen. And so during the last portion of our session together, I told Catherine, she asked me, she said, Stephen, what would you like to do as we close out this session? And I don't know if she remembers, but I believe she does, because again, when two spiritual adaptable people get together, their input, not only their input, but how they receive information is very, very quick. And I told her, I said, Catherine, I would like to, I would like to have a speaking engagement before the close of 2021. And she said, Stephen, she said, as soon as you spoke it, it's going to happen. And lo and behold, I landed the speaking gig. All while, in the process, I lost my father last month, August 13th, unexpectedly and suddenly. And it happened at the eve or towards the end of that, but it happened towards, these two life forces, these two entities coming together in the person of Catherine B. Roy and Stephen L. Underwood. And, it just, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. It's a beautiful thing when people just allow things to just happen and not try to force it. And again,
I honestly, we spent just 4 sessions together, just a month short program.
Right.
And I just teached you few things and you did all of this. So I would like to congratulate you and to say publicly how proud I am. And I can't wait to see the way you grow and what's next in full for you. Thank you so much for all the beauty that you are sharing with the world. Now we're going to have a little bit of fun, okay?
Okay.
Are you ready for a little bit of pressure? You know how I work. Everything is light and joyful, but now get ready for the ride. I'm going to ask you quick questions and you have 10 seconds to answer to me. Okay. Fiery burning questions, very simple, but you will hear the ring bell when the time is up. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
What is your favorite book?
Paradise Lost, Milton, by Milton, or John Milton, excuse me. Paradise Lost, John Milton.
You see, it is a little bit of pressure, but not for me.
Right.
Why?
But
why do you like? I mean, this is not a quick question. Why particularly that book?
John Milton's book, Paradise Lost, it spoke to me. It spoke to me in volumes. Outside of that of the Bible, John Milton's book, Paradise Lost, spoke to me. And the reason why, Catherine, is because it spoke to me about how a man could be in such a beautiful and a attractive and just a serene place, but still be lost in paradise. And so it connected immediately with my spiritual and my emotional intelligence. It drew me in with a passion. And this actually is the book that helped me to, I used to write a great deal of a bit. I used to write a lot of poetry. I haven't written in a long time, but John Milton's writing of Paradise Lost, it is what helped me tap into that creative side of my physical and my emotional intelligence while still operating very fully and functioning in my spiritual intelligence.
I like asking wise people like you about these books because usually my experience is that you guys mention something we never heard about, and that is the sign that that's the literature we need to like dive in and to learn more. So thank you for this. Another quick question: what do you like to do at your spare time?
I like to spend it with my wife for 26 years. I call her my baby girl, Misty. Hi, baby girl.
So beautiful. So sweet. So
and I love spending it. I love spending it with my 6 children. Just time with family. Just helps me relax, unwind. Really spending time with them helps me get a different perspective on life. Although they're my children, each one of them are uniquely, talentedly, and giftedly different. And it also gives me a picture frame to look at the world through them and through their eyes. And I believe that that's also too what we need to do and what spiritual intelligence helps us to do as well, Catherine. It helps us to take ourselves out of our own selves and out of our own shoes
And to
and put
look through other
ourselves
people's
into
eyes.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that is the exchange. Energetically. And
yes.
for the end of this beautiful conversation, do you have an advice, or what would be your piece of advice to people who are listening to this?
Uh, I came up with a motto of
Mm-hmm,
working with you, and it simply goes like this:
mm-hmm,
where enlightened spiritual intelligence
mm-hmm.
enhances all other intelligences so that we can live properly and navigate life as we ought to. And so, with that, I would just say, you know, enhance and enlighten your spiritual intelligence so
Mm-hmm.
that your other intelligences can be enhanced. And as you
Mm-hmm.
begin to see, and as you begin to just flow out of your life flow, out of your essence, out of
Mm-hmm.
your breath, you'll begin to see and you begin to really appreciate the
Mm-hmm.
breath of life. And
Yes.
again, as Dr. Martin Luther King said,
Mm-hmm.
the ultimate measure of a man or woman is not where they stand in the time of convenience and comfort,
Mm-hmm.
but the ultimate measure of a man or woman is where they stand during the time of controversy and challenge. And no other time has spiritual essence or spiritual intelligence been needed along with all the other modalities
Mm-hmm.
of intelligences,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
the spiritual intelligence is what is going to help all of us
Mm-hmm.
navigate to get to the place to where we ought and where we
Mm-hmm.
need to be as human beings. And that is
Mm-hmm.
loving one another and appreciating each other and
Mm-hmm.
just enjoying life from its true essence. And so
Beautiful. And
that's
love,
what I have.
life becomes fluid. It becomes like water. It becomes like an air. It just, it's not a structure anymore. It's not a pressure anymore. It's enjoyment. It's really what it should be, what is meant to be, until we humans made all these things which don't make any sense to me, like for you, of course. But
Yes,
never mind, we will learn. We are learning every day.
yes,
tell me
yes.
tell me where people can find you, how they can reach out to you, how they can work with you.
Uh, People can book a 30-minute, free discovery strategy session with me.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
you can go to our calendar. It is
mhm, mhm,
calendly.com / and is
mhm,
land a gig,
mhm,
LANDAGIG. And you can book with me there. Or you can contact us through Facebook, and that is Stephen Underwood 47 through Facebook. That is my
mhm,
handle on Facebook.
mhm,
My my Instagram handle is Steph's Gig for
mhm,
Life. And
mhm,
so this is what I plan on doing for the rest of my life until I
mhm,
transcend from this life to the next.
mhm,
And so,
mhm,
and then also you can get in touch with me through LinkedIn.
mhm,
You can go to LinkedIn and just put in Stephen Underwood, GEO, which stands for Global Executive Officer. And
mhm,
then, put that in and you'll be able to contact and connect with me.
mhm.
And I look very forward to connecting with those, that are listening. And we look forward to helping you again to enlighten your spiritual intelligence so that
Mhm.
your other intelligences can be enhanced so that you can truly operate and function at the full maximum capacity of your human essence, which is being.
Thank you so much for being my guest. I truly enjoyed. We touched something very beautiful and very powerful. And thank you for offering 30 minutes free call for everyone so they can get to know you better and actually themselves, and maybe tap into that spiritual intelligence which can make enormous difference in their lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Catherine, and thank you so much to your audience. And thank you again. You do not really, there's no words to say how much you have just meant to me. And I would just like to say in the Indian language, Namaste. Thank you so much.
Namaste. Thank you. Bye bye. Ciao.
Bye bye.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
Bye bye.